Micah has run one track since the beginning of September and has had cruciate ligament surgery, so this is an easy for her blind track. Here's our start, and this was run just before the 11 o'clock service when people were still coming in, and I laid it when the 9 o'clock service ended, so it aged about half an hour. I laid it myself, and I tried to just follow her. She has a nice start. And I walked right there. I walked off the curb, then at the end I stepped back up. So she is dead on. Even that angle is dead on. Micah understands checking productive source, so she pulled across the road to the grass, and there was her track. And this is a nice, long veg start. We're having a beautiful February, and it was plus 15 Celsius this morning. There's a busy highway to our left, Highway 2, the Deerfoot, running through Calgary. But it's really quiet in here, although I'm sure it's causing a little bit of turbulence, plus she's on a bit of a roll there. But this is giving her a great start. And she's showing me already it goes to the left. So I'm just keeping an eye on her as I would if it was a blind track for myself. And you can see the parking lot is packed. This is a busy church all week, and there's a Saturday night service. This was Sunday morning, so there was a Sunday morning service, and she's tracking during the changeover when everyone left and all of the people are coming for the 11 o'clock service. So literally hundreds of people have walked through the parking lot and around this church. So she's about to get down into the parking lot. As you can see here, she's getting close to the road, and then she comes back to double check. The wind is coming straight at us, so that makes it a little bit easier. She's not trying to pull too far along the edge. And I'm reading her body language and memorizing it as I usually do when I know where the track goes. So those pauses in the recording are my Ray-Ban metas. They only go for 3 minutes at a time. So here we are working along the road. And when I laid this, there were about 2 cars to my right here. And I turned at this big brown vehicle, the SUV, which she's passed. But she comes back to it and pulls straight in. Vehicles can hold scent. And she roars across because she sees grass, but actually I made a left over to the gravel, so there's nothing on this grass at all for her to find. But I'm letting her work that out for herself. So here she comes pulling down to the gravel. And you can see her really sniffing that gravel, and this is about where I crossed, right where she's turning in circles. So I crossed on a bit of an angle here, but she went straight across, which dogs sometimes tend to do. They straighten up. And she crossed to the bottom of the gravel boulevard on the other side. And then she works her way up. And if you look closely, you'll see an orange clothespin attached to a rod there that I left in case I messed up. Now I turned left right there, but she keeps going straight. And she goes a little far here, and you can see how she stops. And she turns and looks at me like, why am I here? Then she comes back, but not far enough, and goes down the middle of these cars. But she's going straight into the wind, remember? And I turned at that light post. So she's going into the wind, and rather than going straight to the light post, which is good because I wouldn't have fit, she turns here a little bit early. But she's got the wind still coming at her. She works her way across, comes between these cars onto this very busy sidewalk where I'm sure hundreds of people walked between Saturday night and this morning. She goes a bit down into the wind, works her way back up, and there's a little bit of unfortunate line handling on my part. But she tolerates me, and she turns right here through these cars, which is exactly where I walked.
She is dead on.
I walked straight towards that tree, which was my landmark. And there is the tree, the picture that I took this morning while I was laying this track. So that was the hardest part of her track, and I was amazed at how she'd done it, as if she hadn't missed any practice at all for 5 months. But of course, we've been tracking together since she was 3 months old, and she is now 8. So lots of cars turned in and out of this driveway. So she followed the turbulence a little bit, then crossed straight over. I curved to the right almost immediately over the boulevard, and you can see her casting around here, checking it out. Remember, the wind is at our back now, so she's doing really great. The wind is at her back, but she's picking up where I crossed. Be a little careful, and I did step onto the road down here. Now, a lot of people, as you can see, park on the road and walk across to the church. So all along here would be a lot of cross tracks of people going back and forth from Friday night until this morning through 3 church services. So she casts back and forth quite a bit along here. She turned up exactly where I turned up to avoid the big puddle. And I went straight down this sidewalk. So now she has all of the scent from the people who've parked on the side of the road and gone across the boulevard. The wind is at her back, and you can see her going back and forth, because they've crossed back and forth from their cars for 2 church service parking sessions. She's slowly moving forward, but she's casting back and forth because of all of that contamination crossing where I walked. And as we get further up and people can't park on the road up here, you can see her start to straighten up. We're coming near the end. And there's a big leather glove at the end, which will make her happy because that's what she's tracked for most of her life, and it's a high value reward for her, even though she's been trailing now for about 4 years. So again, that short break is when my meta glasses have run 3 minutes. So this was also a busy crossing with cars going back and forth, but it's interesting to me too that she seems to be in a scent cone, possibly influenced by the number of cars that were going in and out along the driveways here, pushing it out in a broader circle.
Just a sec, sorry.
And her leather glove is across the road and the trees on the other side. She's just trying to figure this one out. She knows she should always check the other side. Now she's getting closer to it.
Oh my goodness, what you got? Micah!